Thank you so much, and hello from Studio B. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be waving things around in front of my face like that. See, this is the trouble with video. I'm Paul Poteet, and a lot of times when I'm working in here in Studio B, this is the setup that I use for all of my video clients, like the Indianapolis Star and some of their sister and brother newspapers, and then I also do some video stuff for some other people too from time to time. When I'm actually doing radio, I'm not looking this way, although it's pretty non-visual to be looking in that direction, with a camera over here. So when I'm doing radio, I'm actually turned around the other way in this very expensive microphone. This is really the most expensive thing in this studio is this microphone. It isn't me. So welcome to Studio B. This is where I spend, as far as making money these days, about 80% of my time, if not more. About the only thing Mrs. Poteet ever lets me out of the house for is to go downtown to Wish TV, where I tape Pet Pals with Patty Spitler from time to time. But all the radio is done in here, most cases. Now, I do get out from time to time. It's not that I can't get out of here today to be with you in person. So I'm happy that Kevin gave me the opportunity to talk to you this way too about the importance of getting the word out. Even if I can't get out of this room, I'm constantly trying to get the word out about me. But there are some things about getting the word out about you or your business that can also apply to something such as what we're all involved in, and it's a pleasure to be a part of the team of advisors for Nathan's Playroom, and I appreciate that. That's one of the cool things about being in the public eye for 200 years, as I've been in Indianapolis, is getting to help out from time to time on things and to shine a light from time to time on things that are going on in the community also. But I also shine the light on me. I realize that. You're sick of me in your in your Facebook and your Twitter. Please leave us alone with the paulpoteet.com on the radio. We get it. And that's one of the things that I would tell you that is true with any kind of marketing. And I'm not saying that you should use social media just for marketing. I don't. I mean, if you do that, people will really, really tire of you and may just leave you behind after a while. But one of the things that you do need to do with something like the Playroom is you do have to do some marketing. You have to get the word out. And one of the tough things is the fact that you do have to be kind of what will seem to you to at least be repetitive. One of the tough things that I learned once that I went 100% freelance 4 years ago, once I left Channel 6, and I no longer had an entire promotion department dedicated to running commercials with me in it, looking studly and smart in front of the Storm Team 6 tracking center. At that point, I was on my own. And it's easy to make fun of a one-man band who's constantly promoting himself, but guess what? Ain't nobody else going to do it. So sooner or later, you have to, you eat what you can kill in this world of sales. I guess some of you that are in sales will recognize this. You only get what you put into it. You only get out of it what you get put into it, and part of getting that out is getting the word out and marketing yourself and reminding people that you're in the Indy Star, or you're on this station, or you're on that station. So what an organization like the Playroom has to do is, the same kind of thing. You have to constantly remind people. There are a lot of great, worthy charities out there, and trust me, I know, because I hear from a lot of them, or I hear about a lot of them. And so you have to, as much as you might not like to at times, you have to be in there into that mix all the time of getting your word out. And there's nothing that is magical on its own about the words social media, about Twitter or Facebook or whatever, Google Plus or LinkedIn, Pinterest, on and on. Some ones that I've forgotten. What's the one? The Vine, the videos, the 15 seconds. There's nothing magic about all these things on their own. There's no rule on its own that says, "Oh, you've got to do that. You've got to be on Twitter and you've got to be on Facebook." The reason that you've got to be there, or you should feel as if you have to be there, is that's where people are. Otherwise you're hiding your message, whatever that message is. If it's watch this weather guy, help out our organization. Otherwise, your message, it's falling on deaf ears, or it's going into places where people aren't. And that's the thing about social media. There's nothing, the mechanism, the tools of it are secondary to the fact that it's important because people are communicating on there, and you have to be. It would be like somebody trying to get the word out about something in the 1800s and saying, "I'd rather not be in the newspaper." If that's where people are getting the bulk of their information and entertainment, that's where you need to be if you want to engage those folks. And that's, in a nutshell, why you have to have some kind of a presence online to fully communicate these days. And some presence, I should be more specific, some presence online and in these different areas of social media. That's why I'm there. I had the benefit of being sort of an early adapter on a lot of these things, especially like with Twitter. I know I was really, really early to the game on that, and I was kind of early on Facebook. There were people that were already on there. There was actually a time on Facebook where I still was wishing everyone individually a happy birthday who followed me. Then once it got to be like more than 500 people, and then it dawned on me every day someone is going to be having a birthday, and I'm going to be spending time every day looking at that thing and say, "Happy birthday" from Mr. Weatherman. So I guess I was fairly early on that, and I've ended up with, and again, here's a mistake you can make a lot, and that is worrying about the count of everything all the time. But if you want to know if it adds any credibility to this, there's about, I think, around 16,000 these days on Twitter. And I do better on Twitter than I do on Facebook. I think I've got 14,000 on the Facebook page, and then there's the 5,000, the original 5,000, on one Facebook page, and then they now give you a count of people that just follow you on your non-page Facebook page, following me, literally, and that's like another 2,000 folks. And I think on Google Plus, I think I may be over 700. Yay! But there's no point in obsessing about that. And I don't, unless it's in jest, I don't try to send out posts that say, like this post if you want to see the sunshine tomorrow, like this post if you want this puppy to live. You shouldn't be as concerned about that and obsessed about that. Is what is your message? What do you want to get across? What is your, and I hate, you notice I've gone this far without saying brand, but what is your brand? What do you want? And all that is what do you want people to think of when they think of you? When they think of me, I want them to think of somebody fun. Somebody funny is fine. Fun or funny, I'll take either one. Witty, clever. Somebody who has information. Somebody who has like one leg of the Paul Poteet stool is in weather and is actual information. And so you can get some information there, but certainly another part of the stool. I'm really wishing I hadn't chosen stool as the metaphor. Well, another part of the stool would be the non-weather stuff, the comedy, the snarky one-liners, whatever. That's a part of it too. And then there's local information, just interesting out of whatever that makes a part of the foundation of what I try to be on there when people, conjure up my name. Somebody entertaining and useful and interesting at various times, a little bit of all of that. What you have to do with an organization like the Playroom is decide, what are you trying to communicate? What do you, and you've got some great stories to tell, and people talk in stories in real life a lot of times, and they prefer that I've noticed that you talk that way on social media. People don't want, here is our fundraiser, click here for details. They want you to I don't want to say make it interesting for them, but they want you to focus when you're putting out the word about uh, a fundraiser, an event. You know, what's this going to do? You know, 3 kids will get this if we can get you interested in this link. You know, as opposed to something that's cold and sterile. You don't want to be online and just be generic and not be personal. A lot of you know, my friends I will see, especially early on in social media, you would see like, tonight at 5 my story on backyard wrestling in central Indiana. Link. It would just sound like a TV commercial. It wasn't. It just, to me, it stuck out, and so I think you've got to be more. I mean, people aren't stupid. They know that you want them to click this link, but I think you have to approach it less as a commercial and more as somebody who's, you know, sharing something that they think is important. I mean, you may think I'm a dweeb about the weather, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, I do think, you know, what I pass on is important, or that it's funny. I think the really successful people on social media tend to really believe in what they're doing. They think they're funny, or they're interesting, or they're really good at sports. Whatever it is that they want to be known for, they think that they're good at that, and they are really passionate about it. So you've got all of that already. Anybody who's involved in the organization, you know, should be passionate about it. And then so you've got to approach your tweets and your Facebook posts from that angle of, you know, being so excited about the organization that there are things about it that you want to share, not that you don't want to hit somebody over the head, you know, and try to get some money out of them. You know, find those little concrete examples of what the money will do and who it will help, and highlight those when you're posting things. And, you know, as far as how often do you post, and, you know, who knows? You know, I don't I don't have a big book of guidelines. You know, I just try to. When I have something to say, there was an old type of radio format that was in vogue back when I first got into the business, and it was called Boss Radio, where it's a long story, trust me, and you wouldn't have time to tell it in the format that I'm talking about. But it was a format that was pretty much designed for the DJs to talk like 15 seconds at a time, or they would just talk over the beginnings of songs most of the time. And the big challenge was to, you know, try to say anything worthwhile in that length of time. It was like radio haiku, and the mantra was the word was, don't, you know, if you don't have anything to say, don't say it. And so I do find myself channeling that sometimes when it comes to online things. And I take, you know, kind of a break on the weekend. There are times when I don't think it's as busy online, or I can just kind of see that there's not as much activity as other times when I'm online. And so it's not like, you know, I don't feel guilty about it. You know, don't feel like you have to clobber people all the time. I would say it's quality over quantity. I think you get a little more leeway on Twitter just because the nature of things, people aren't always scrolling back so much, so readily as they might be in Facebook. If they go to your wall, for example, I think more people do that than look at your Twitter feed. I think more people just see your Twitter feed more in real time. That's just a hunch I have. I don't have any cold hard facts on that. So the bottom line on that is that I tend to be a little more likely to post frequently on Twitter, or just put some one-off, you know, goofy observation that I'm making while I'm watching, you know, TV. Maybe I'll put it on Twitter. Facebook, it seems like it's going to be around longer for some reason in my head, so I might not do that there. If it's a visual post, if you've got a great picture of Braden doing something, then, you know, that's probably going to do a lot better on Facebook than on Twitter. Hootsuite is the way that I interact with Twitter a lot of times. That's where you sign into your account online, and you don't see the images that people post necessarily in line. Now, I know you can on the Twitter website, but A lot of times, I think that maybe people are using Twitter on their phone too. So the inline images, the attached images, I don't think are as big as they are on Facebook. They seem to be, I can get a lot more response on Facebook from a link on my blog with a picture as opposed to a link that has where the video comes up. Like if it's an indie star video and you put the link there, and then it'll show up on Facebook with a little start symbol. It can still do a lot better, or get a lot more response, at least from people on Facebook, just with a big picture, because Facebook favors those pictures that are attached. They make them show up really large in the news feed, and the links not so much. So you might consider being picture heavy with things that you put on Facebook as opposed to things you put on Twitter. I would, if you can, separate them, or at least don't use like Twitter speak on Facebook. That kind of is a pet peeve of mine. Whereas, although now you can do hashtags on Facebook, so I guess it's getting harder to tell. But I used to, where you could tell that people were just automatically, they had something on their Twitter that would automatically then post to Facebook. That would kind of drive me crazy, especially if they would respond to people on Twitter, and then it would also go onto Facebook, where you had no way of following it if you wanted to follow the conversation. And don't be afraid to try to engage people in conversations. That's a lot of, especially like my Twitter feed is just responding to people. I'm always happy when there's more of that than there is more of just coming from me on the site. And I will look whenever I have a moment at the news feed going by and try to find things that where it would be appropriate for me to respond to just stuff that that I did not generate. So if you can see things that you're following as the organization that have maybe something to do with the playroom or with kids in general or with families that are going through trauma, then why not try to follow as many of those organizations that might be sort of like-minded, follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and respond to them. And you don't have to put a link to your stuff up or anything. You're just kind of in that community and maybe generating some future interest. Once they see your name and that you're responding to them, they're more likely to look you up and respond to you down the road. It's just human nature, golden rule. So by all means, just do something. The one thing that when people do ask about that, a lot of times people are just so concerned about having the right software and the right tools and knowing the right time to schedule things online. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. I mean, this whole paradigm on all of this stuff changes on a dime. It changes every couple of months. I mean, you're never going to have a perfect understanding of what's going to work. And so go, do. If I were you, I would stop this presentation right now and open up some accounts. But definitely try to be human in the way that you use things online. Don't make it sound like a commercial. Don't make it sound, have fun with it. I mean, people want to help, and they're going to be touched by your story, but they want some reasons to smile too. They'll appreciate that as well as want to help you. So have within reason and where it's appropriate. Try to have fun with it. You're asking for help. You're asking for money a lot of times, and people are going to have a natural tendency to kind of clam up. And if you can be as discerning as possible, that it would probably be a good thing too. That's all I know in less than half an hour or less. I look forward to seeing the tweets and seeing the posts. And of course, did I go this long without plugging myself? See, it's not all about the plugs. You can, if you don't know who I am, you can follow me at paulpoteet.com, and on Facebook, I think it's paulpoteet.com. Just Google. Lord knows I've spent, I think about half a day a few weeks ago trying to make sure that my little picture came up on Google when you search me now, because there's some way you can link it to your Google page. This is an example of sometimes where I'm thinking, there is no way this is paying off for me at all. I'm spending half a day putting in code just so some Google robot crawler knows what my picture looks like. But, I have to say, in the long run, it's certainly been important for me over the last 4 years, and I think it was important that I did it even before 4 years ago when I left full-time employment. It's been very important for me to have that presence online. It's added to my credibility. I've gotten business directly from being online, from people that I hadn't worked with before when it comes to voiceovers and things like that. So that presence there, you have to do it in the year 2013, or if you're repurposing this video in the year 2014, you can edit that way. It's part of the job when your job is to get the word out. And with a great organization like I'm proud to be associated with the Playroom, you want to get that word out as easily and as efficiently as possible. And we're certainly blessed to live in a time where you can do that with computers and such, and really never leave your house. So I'm just going to sit here for the rest of the day and think about what I've said to you. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you, and continued success